Hello, welcome to all the people. So today is the day number one. So we are having the video for upcoming 10 days as well as right. Today is going to be the video number one, session number one, right? Today we are going to build an AI agent from the scratch without any framework. So we are not going to use any framework, right? We are directly using predefined, directly using without the framework. We are going to build a AI model. We are going to build the agentic AI without the any of this framework, such as LangChain, right? LangGraph is there, Llama Index. Without that, we are going to build because it is going to be this. We can also call it as a prep session. Video number one is going to be the little bit primary session. But when we move further day by day, we are going to achieve, we are going to understand a lot of things, right? So let's get started with that as well as right. And this is going to be the full coding. There will be no theory, right? So let's get started. So if you observe properly here, this is going to be the session overview. This is fully hands-on part. We are going to build in the Python. There will be no launching, no QA, no framework. And as well as I'm also going to let you know how can we switch from one to another AI. How can we switch from one to another AI? So let's get started with that as well as. And we also do have the few structure of the project. We are going to understand the React loop, right? Thought, action, observation, repeat. We are already ready with each and every theory concept, but we must have to move further in practical and hands-on part. We are defining the tool as JSON schemas, and then let the LLM will call them, right? And we are switching as well as between one LLM to another. So it's going to be safety regard for all as well. Maximum iteration is there, and JSON parse fallback error handling, and we are going to test our agent on the real world questions, such as what's the weather for the today, what would be the output of this particular sum, right? And we are also going to switch from one LLM group to the Gemini. So we are also going to do this kind of coding for the tool. And let's get started with that. Before we move further, so we do have the project structure. So in the final project structure is going to be look like we are starting with the .env file. Usually we have to pull out all the usually we have to give it each and every API key here. Then we do have the git ignore. So git is going to be ignored for that. And as well as we have the requirement txt in which we have all the required library packages at one single text file. So you can directly run this single requirement file. After that, we also do have the config.py. So config.py that means it will give you the power to switch between one to another LLM. And as well as we do have LLM client. It is going to be the two tools. We are going to use the two tools here. Number one, get weather, and second is going to be the calculator. Then we have the agent.py is going to be the main brain, and then we do have main.py. After that, we also have the one last file, get me.md for you because if you go to this readme.md, you will know how can we set up this project. If you want to build this project, if you want to run this project, right, we are going to understand how can we set up this kind of project. So can we start? Let's get started. Okay. Now I'm going to follow each and every steps here. Okay. Step number one, we are going to create one folder. Open the download, click on the new, and then one folder. I'm going to give the name, right? Video one session. We can give any name, right? So our each and every file will be stored here in this entire folder. I'm opening the VS Code, right? Click on a file button, then open folder. And after I'm going to click on the download. choosable folder, select the folder. So when we select the folder, right, you will get this kind of idea on the left panel. On the Explorer, you will see video session is there. Now we are going to create a multiple files as we know as per our requirement. Yeah, this is our requirement, the final project structure. We have to create multiple files. Now we are going to create each and every file one by one, right? Now, before we move further, we must have to create the virtual environment. How can we do it? Click on this button, three dot, terminal, and new terminal. Here also, we are going to use the VNV structure. Okay, I'm going to type Python minus m VNV and hit the enter now. This is how we create the virtual environment into the Python. All right. Okay. We can easily say that we have created it already. Now I'm going to use VNV. Okay. Script, activate, and hit the enter. This is how we activate our project. Now, when we activate our virtual environment, now we are going to create each and every file one by one. Okay. Now just do it with me. I'm going to click on this plus button and I would say .env. .env. Right. Second file we do have, it's called .env example. Plus button .env example. Right. Then after we do have .gitignore. .gitignore. First of all, I'm going to create each and every file. After that, we are going to write each and every code for one by one file. Right? Let's get do it as well as git ignore is there. Right. Then we do have the requirement.txt. Requirement.txt. Right. After that, we have config.py LLM client tools. I'm going to create each and every file one by one. Right. Let's try to create config.py. Config.py. Right. Then we do have LLM underscore client. LLM underscore client dot py. Then we do have tools agent main and readme. I'm going to create one by one tools dot python agent agent dot py main dot py and then readme dot md main dot py plus readme md. This is how we create our entire project structure. So we do have .env file in which we are going to give it one by one details. We are going to give it each and every detail in the larger zone. This is how we create our each and every entire structure. Then after we do have the env example. So it's going to be giving me the more example for environment. Then if we move further, we do have the git ignore. So git is going to be ignore each and everything, whatever we will write it here. Then we have agent.py in which we have our entire agent one by one things. Then we have the config, it will going to be give you the power to switch between one LLM to another LLM. So after that, we do have the main.py as well as. So in the main.py, we are going to write our main entire code. And after we have readme and then requirement. So readme in the sense you'll get a lot of idea regarding what will happen in the entire project. How can we set up this project, right? And then we do have the requirement txt, in which we will have each and every required libraries. So we can easily run this requirement txt file at a single time. So our entire library package will be installed at a single step. Then we have tools.py. We are going to use two tools, Weathers, as well as we are also going to add up another tool is called calculator tools. I'm also giving to I'm also giving a little bit idea about how can we write up each and every code, as well as I'm also giving a lot of examples. I'm also giving you a lot of examples for how can we set up, how can we write up each and everything into the detail. So before we move further, right? Before we move further, let me give you a lot of idea for that, and we must have to understand this one. Let's try to Let's try to create this LLM underscore client dot py. This one, right? Now I'm going to write the code one by one. Right? Let's get started with that. Unified LLM client one call function multiple provider multiple providers. You also need to follow with me as well, as right? Okay. Now I'm going to import some library, but before that, you must have to click on here in the requirement.txt, and let me give you the idea about all the required library package. I'm opening the uh, balances here. I'm opening the Word document here. Let me give you this idea, this one. This is what we needed for our use case, right? I'm going to paste it here. Yeah, this is the library we would needed through Google AI for the Gemini Python development request, and then read as well, right? And we also do need one library. It's going to be used as HTTP X. Let me give you the idea as well, as right? Yes. Yeah, we also need one more library here. It's going to be work as a HTTP. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to be work as a HTTP X. Then we do a 0.27.2. Okay, let's save this one. Now I'm going to run one command with install -r, and then I'm trying to copy from here. Select this one, copy as the relative path, and paste it here. And hit that. Yeah, this is how we install each and every package of the library at a very single in the very single command, right? If you write this command, pip install -r, we can easily install each and every package of our library. It may take a time, right? In the meanwhile, what we can do, we can write our main code in the config.llm config py. Okay, let's get started with that as well, right? Yes, import JSON, right? Import the time, right? Okay, that's fine. Import the time, right? From typing import list dictionary. This should be capital. From group import group import Google dot generative AI as Gen AI, right? From now, so import Google dot generative AI as a Gen AI. Okay, that's fine. Then import the config. Yes. Then I'm going to create a one by one function for that. So LLM type, that means we are going to give the idea from one to another. We are going to call our main function. Okay. Def call underscore group round bracket messages, right? List dictionary. Dict is also there. Dict string str semicolon. Then client equal to group. Then we are going to type the API key. Okay. Then I would say config dot group API key, right? Group API key. Okay, hit enter now. Start equal to time dot time. Then we also look out for the response, right? What are the response do we need? We also need to find out the response actually. Equal to client dot chat completion dot create. Right, that's fine. I'm going to use model equal to config dot group model. Group model. Okay. Then we type messages equal to messages at the time. That is fine. Then I would say temperature. You must have to set up the temperature as well for the AI part. Based on this, we'll get the results here. Okay. That's fine. I will type Eclipse time minus starting time print round bracket f string is also there. Then I would say here LLM group latency, right? I'm typing Eclipse. Eclipse is there, right? Semicolon is there. Point 2f. Yes, calculator will be over here, and then S. We are going to end this one as well. Okay, we are starting with this one. Okay, let me check. F string is there. LLM. Okay, I had added the one extension here extra. That's fine now. App string. Okay, that's fine. Eclipse is there. I'm also going to remove this one as well. Sorry. Eclipse F and F string is there. LLM group latency Eclipse semicolon to FS. Now after that, I would say return the response, right? Return the response dot choices. I also need the choices for my messages. What message do I really write? It would be number one priority. Message is there. Dot content. Right. This is how we create our function number one. So if you observe properly here, we are directly calling a one function called group. Now we are going to create a one. We are going to also create same function. We are also going to create the same function for the Gemini part. So without wasting time, what I will do as for now, I'm going to copy the code from here, the remaining code for this entire things, right? LLM underscore client. Yeah. The second one. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm going to copy this code here, right? Okay. I'm pasting here. Let me see what will happen here. Okay, that's fine. So in this entire project, if you observe properly, right? This is how we create our two function. We are going to create a two function, one for the group, whole group. So when I run this function, when I execute this function, right, whole group, it's going to be call this group function, right? And on the other part, if we talk about the Gemini, when I say the Gemini, right, it will be called function. This is how we create, this is how we build two different functions in the two different ways. Whenever I need this function group, I would call group function. If I need a Gemini, right, I would call the Gemini function. This is how we're going to build. This is how we're going to understand the LLM client part. Right? And then we also do have the last code for that, in which we are going to give the one good criteria for the model. Model will also going to be give the decision making for you. Can you see this one? Tab call. If the LLM so we are also setting up in the env part, config part, sorry. This config.py file is there, right? We are also going to set up here in the config.py file. So what would be our model? If I choose LLM provider, it will always call the group model. This is how the model is going to be smart. This is how we switch from one to another model, right? This is how we do it. So now we are pretty much ready with the LLM underscore client.py, right? Okay, that should be fine as well as right. If you observe properly. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm also giving the more idea about this one as well. After that, we also need to create, we are also going to be create a one file. It's called config.py. Let me try to copy the same file. Okay, LLM client was done. Now we are going to use config.py this time. I'm going to copy from here as well, right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to stt config.py. So if you observe properly the config.py, right? We are trying to load the environment variable, expose the type config. So that means I'm going to give the LLM provider. That means I would choose the group here. Group API key. And I need to press the group API key. How can we do it? How can we create this API for the group? I need to click on the group API key. This one, right? we will see this body appear here. API keys group cloud. You need to sign up with your you need to sign up with your email address, Gmail address, right? Then we click on the create API and we create our API key. Right? And for the Gemini, we also do have the AI Studio, and we are already aware of this one, right? I don't want to explain this Gemini API creation part. Gemini API key is there, right? On the Google AI Studio, we can easily create this one. After that, let's just move further with that. I'm opening the VS Code one more time. So you can easily say that LLM provider is there. Group API key is also there, right? And then we do have the Gemini API. This is how we build config.py. So in the config.py, we do have the LLM provider. So for what are our LLM provider? We have the two LLMs here. Number one is group, second is the Gemini. So if I talk about the Gemini and group, we need to provide the API key. And I already mentioned earlier what are the things we will need it here. Okay. And for a better approach, I'm going to choose Gemini 2.5 plus because this is the model which will working in our scenario. This is the model which is going to be work in this our scenario. Okay. Let's get with this Gemini 2.5. Okay. Gemini 2.5 plus. Yeah, that's fine. As simple as that. And if the LLM provider is group, then it's going to be, we also have the one exception here as well. Like if the API key is not here, because sometimes we forgot to put out the API. If you do not put the API key here, model will also give me the this kind of error. It's going to be raised the value error here, such as group API key is missing in this .env file, right? LLM was also going to be missing. And after that, let's just move further with this .env folder. So we do have this same thing here. If I talk about this LLM environment, env environment, right? Let's try to also give it to you. .env is also there, right? Now the .env part is going to be work as your environment things. Let me try to give it to you this idea as well as right about .env. Yes, this is what we needed for this our .env example. As simple as that, right? Yeah. So for that case, what we usually have it here. When I talk about this one, I'm going to copy from here, right? And I'm pasting here. So you can easily say that we have the LLM provider group. So I had already choose LLM provider as a group. But if you do not need the group, I want to choose the Gemini, I can type it to Gemini here. When I type to Gemini here, a model will be decided here. If I talk about LLM provider, if I click on the LLM underscore client, you can easily say that LLM provider. If the LLM provider is group, then only it's going to be called group model. Otherwise, it doesn't work. If you choose a Gemini here in this .env, in the .env, if you choose a group here, LLM provider group, it will going to call the group model. But if you choose Gemini, then it's going to be called, it's going to be work, then it's going to be called the Gemini model. And we have the API key, then we also choose a model. Which model do we really? So here I'm also going to change the value here 2 point slash here 2.5 slash here for a better approach, for a better results. We're going to get it here. This is how we do it. This is how we build our this kind of project structure. Right. After that, what we are going to do here, we will keep moving further in this scenario. Now we are pretty much ready with .env. We are also ready with this LLM underscore client. And for students, except for you, I also do have the .env example. How can you do it? How can you do it? This is the thing which we needed here, this one. Right? If you really need this one, you can also set it up here as well as for the student part. This is not the different thing. It's just going to be work for the student people who want to build up something, who want to do a lot of exploration. You can also set it in this way, right? The same structure. After that, now we are ready with this each and everything. One by one things is also there. If I talk about this one. So let's just move further. Let's try to run this git ignore as well, right? So we also have this one. I'm trying to copy from here. So why we use it first of all, if I talk about this one. So usually what will happen when we push each and every code to the Git, right? I don't want to show my each and every code to the Git because in the VNV, if you observe properly, you can see .env is there, right? If I talk about .env, if I talk about this VNV virtual environment. So even if somehow if I do not put out git ignore and I can directly push my entire code to the GitHub. So anybody can have access to my .env folder. Anybody can access to my .env file and then virtual environment file. Then after what will happen in the .env? Usually we save our API key such as this Grook or Gemini LLM. So when somebody get the access for the API key, there is a high chance they can easily use your all the credit at one single time. So for a better approach, for a better safety, we don't want to show the API key to the other people. We are only showing our all the code, not the API key. So that's the reason we are telling Git to ignore this such kind of structure in the folder. Do not post this, do not push this all the file, all the code to the GitHub. This is how we do it. So we have .env, we have VNV, DS storage there, right? Package is also there. These are the five things, one, two, three, four, five, also there. Total is five. These are the five things we don't want to push to the Git. So the reason behind that, if you push to the Git, anybody can access our entire API keys. It's going to be the huge mistake if we have the pro model, if we are paying the money for that, right? Okay, let's just move forward. Now we are pretty much ready with this .env example, right? Git ignore is also there, and then we had write down one code for the LLM underscore client.py. Then if we move further in this one, right? If I talk about the client, if I talk about the config.py. In a config.py, we had mentioned this LLM each and every provider, right? How can we switch between one to another model? Then the LLM client is going to be called the AI model by this functions. We have to have the function. It's going to be called the AI model from through the API, right? Then we get the answer. Then we get the message answer for here. So after that, what we have to use it here after the LLM config, after the config.py and setting all the environment, right? We must have to understand one concept. It's called tools.py. So tools.py in the sense we are going to create, we are going to build up a different tools here. Right? So let's try to import as well as I'm going to type import request. So we have the two tools. Number one is the weather tools. Second is going to be the calculator tools. Import request. I'm going to type the import request here. Right? Depth, calculator, expression, expression is there. I'm going to type str string, right? And then I'm going to type it here and I'm going to run it here. Str is there. Then I'm going to type something here. Safe, safely, evaluate, safely evaluate, math expression, right? And after that, I'm going to type allow equal to set. I would type 0, 1. Because we are going to create mathematical function 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then plus button. Then this one as well. It will look like a regex form, right? Regular expression dot percentage as well as right. Okay. I'm also going to close this one parenthesis is okay, right? Allows. If not all C in allow for C in expression return the error. You also need to create a one function, right? One tool as well. Calculator tools. Error on the digits and the plus, minus, multiply, divide, right? This one, parenthesis is there, dot, percentage. We are going to type the mathematical function one by one, right? Semicolon is there. This one, curly bracket is also there. Yes, this is what we have it, percentage. And then I'm going to type dot percentage R allow. Yes. Then if you move further for that here as well as that. Yes. I'm going to use a try and accept. I'm going to use a try and accept from the Python try result equal to eval expression right? And I would say built-ins curly bracket is there here. Again, curly bracket, and then close this one. Return results, string results. And this is how we do it. Again, accept exception as zero, sorry, as E as well, sorry, as E return F string, then I would say error, semicolon, then E is also there. Close this. This is how we create a one function. So if you observe this properly, in which we had decided we had built a lot of things here, such as in the case, if you want to build this calculated function, same thing goes for the weather function as well. If you want to if you want to create a weather function, this is going to be the simplest way to build a function. Is it clear now? Let me know. As simple as that, right? Hello. Sorry for that. Let's get move further as well as that. So as I discussed earlier, if we talk about this calculated function, so this is how we create a calculation function, right? If you observe properly. So whenever we are talking about this kind of thing, we must have to understand a lot of things here. If we start from here, calculated function, this is how we build the calculated function. So without wasting the time, what I'm trying to do, let me try to copy the remaining code for the tools.py, right? Yeah, for the tools.py. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Let me try to copy the code from for tools.py. This is what we have with tools.py, right? We had set up the number one function, calculated function. After that, let me try to give you the tools number two, right? Then I'm going to paste it each and every entire code if we observe properly. Right? As simple as that. Now, what will happen here? If I talk about the code, right? Let me try to paste the entire code, right? So if you start from here, you can easily say that. Let me try to remove this one as well. Better approach. So now we have created the second function. It's called the weather function. Weather in the sense, if you want to find out the weather for any of the detail, any of the city, we can easily type it. If you want to run these two tools at a one single time, we can easily run it. Let's say I want to know the weather and I also want to do the mathematical operation. We can do it. So this is how we do it when it comes to the tool calling. We had defined this tool. If you observe properly, try. We had used a simple Python concept, try and accept, and return as well as right. So we had used this geocoding API. So even if I run this one, let me try to run this one for you. So we'll get a little bit idea of what we have performed here. Copy from here, and then I would paste it in this browser. Okay. So if you observe properly here, we will say this is how we define this into the better approach. Let me try to run this one as well for a better approach. Yeah. So we had used the geocoding API open method equal to v1 and search as well. Then we use this API key from this geocoding from the request website, right? Geocode city, the name, right? So if you write any city, any country name, right, is going to give me the temperature of this particular city. As simple as that, right? This is how we do it. And then content location is also there, right? Humidity is there. We are getting it in the particular version. I'm getting weather, humidity, wind, each and everything into the detail if I just type the one simple city name. So we have the two function, two tools is there. Number one is calculator. We can perform the mathematical. Second is the weather. We will get the weather. If I want to run, if I want to call two of the tools at a single time, we can do it. If I want to switch from one LLM to another, we can also do it. Okay, as simple as that. Now, if we move further, you can easily say that available tools. Number one, calculator tools. Second is the get web tools. So if I do this one, like say, I will just also set up the example, this type of thing we have to perform here. Then we got the output from the LLM. This is going to be the day number one for all the people because we are starting from the scratch for the today. There are a lot of people who don't know about this. How can we switch between one to the another one? How can we switch from one LLM to another LLM? How can we do the tool calling, right? Then if we move further one by one in the upcoming sessions, we are also going to build a very high agentic part into the VS Code. There are a lot of framework. Like so we are also going to explore this like say if I talk about this one like SQLite, we are also going to express about like say, a lot of things regarding this different Hugging Face as well as right. So it's going to be very helpful for the people who want to learn and understand a lot of things. Right. Let's just move further. Now we are pretty much ready with the tools. Requirement.txt is also done. Readme.md is also done. Now for the readme part, I'm also giving this at the end. Main.py is also there, and then config is there. So now we are pretty much ready with this git ignore config LLM client, right? Main and then now we are left with this two Python file, agent and a main. So let me try to give it you the idea about the agent as well as right. In the agent as well, we are also going to import this few of the required libraries, right? If I talk about this agent.py, right? Yes. Import the JSON, right? Import JSON from rich. I'm gonna use the rich. That means it is the UI. We are getting this very good colorful UI rather than we are getting this traditional output. I would really want a beautiful output, right? That's the reason I use rich console, right? From rich dot panel import the panel. As simple as that, right? After that, I'm going to import, sorry, the LLM client because we have to tell the agent. LLM client is here. We have to tell the agent to call this function one by one. To call the LLM, this is how we call LLM using this agent.py. LLM client is there. Now, from tools, I also need to use the tools, import tools and tool schema. Correct. Tool schemas. So if I open the tools here, right, we can actually get it. Tool schema is there, and then tool is tool. That means it's going to be called the tools calculator, and then better tools one by one. Okay. Agent.py, get back to the agent.py, and then I'm going to type the console equal to console. Now the C would be capital here, right? Then we must have to give the system prompt because based on this one, our model, our agentic part will going to be work at a very good level. I would say system prompt. I'm going to type the system prompt here. And let me try to copy this entire thing for a better approach, right? I would go back to my file. Okay. And I'm going to copy the agent.py. Let me copy the agent.py. This is what we have it. I'm going to copy from here and then up to this one. Yes, that's fine. Pasting here. So if you observe properly, there will be a lot of writing of the coding in this one session. It it cannot be possible to write each and every code one by one. And now we are living in the agentic era. Right? We are living in the AI era, right? So now if you write the traditional way of the coding, it does not save you a lot of time. That's the reason we need to be smart. But we need to understand what will happen here. What is the reason behind this? Now, if we talk about this one, right? System prompt. So system prompt will give you the lot of idea. Let's say you want to build a very good pipeline. You want to build a very good agentic AI framework, agentic AI part of the work, right? So you need to be very precise about the rules. So if you observe properly on every turn, respond with the one JSON object only. No pros, no markdown. I need to be very strict to my all the work because otherwise the what will happen model will decide by itself. And when the model will decide by itself, there is a high chance about the hallucination. So that's the reason we will always write down the system prompt. It's going to be the step by step. It's going to be the guided instruction, proper instruction to this LLM. So it should be work very fine at the as well as. After we are going to define the function. Def extract the JSON, right? And I would say it's going to be extract from the first JSON object and give me the LLM response. It's going to be the to delimit as well as, right? And then if I talk about this deep as well, we are going to use each and every Python function. I don't want to waste my time into this function like start with the JSON. When some word we start with the JSON is going to be give me the output. It's going to be use start and find the button R find is also there. And then we also have the error. If we do not find the very good value, we do not find the very good result, we also have the error as well. Is the error, value error, then return the object at the end. This is how we define the extract JSON. Step number one, we had to extract the JSON, extract the first JSON object from the LLM response. Second thing, we need to run the React loop until agent will give the final answer. Let's suppose if you type, let's say the weather of this, and in somehow the model cannot be give the particular answer, particular result to. And what you have to perform, you need to build up entire code one by one. So that should be the reason we had typed the run underscore agent. So that means here, when I type run underscore agent, right, it's going to be really, really important. It's going to be really, really easy to understand each and everything at the end. After that, we also do have pass the JSON, ask the LLM. We have the step-by-step approach. Ask the LLM what to do, then we pass the JSON file. This is the code for that. We assign the role, assign the user here, right? Then we did the agent finish the work, final answer is there. Otherwise, we also need to set up each and everything as well in the loop. And we also need this. This is the UI part. You can easily say that. UI part is right. Border style blue, console print each and everything will be okay. Title observation is there, right? So when we run this one, you will get a lot of idea. Now we are only left with the main.py file. Let me copy this main.py. So it's going to be really, really important for all the people. Right? Now I would copy from here the main.py. Right? This is what we have it. And then I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to paste it here as well. So before we move further, right, I'm going to paste my API key. So I'm pausing the video for seconds, right? Just give me 1 minute. Yes. So if you observe properly here, so I do have each and everything ready in my entire workflow. So if on the left side, right, I do have my API key. I don't want to show my API key, right? I'm directly running the project from the scratch. So you'll get an idea what will happen in this scenario, right? So we have each and every file is there. So what I will do now, I'm clicking on the three dot terminal and the new terminal. So my terminal will be open, and by default, it's going to be enter into my virtual environment. Can you see? See, by default is going to be enter into the virtual environment. Now, if we move further into this particular scenario, right, we will get a lot of idea what we have to perform now, what we have to do it now. So for the better approach, for a verification part, right, I'm going to run the Python config.py. So when I type the Python config.py, you can see config.py is there, right? So I had choose Gemini as my provider from the .env folder, from the .env file. We can choose Grook as well. If I choose a Gemini, that means when I run the Python config.py using the provided Gemini, it's going to be give me the output, which LLM model we are using. As of now, we are using Gemini for a better approach. Even if you change with the Grok, you can switch into this .env. You can switch this LLM model from the .env folder, from the .env file, right, in the LLM provider. Now, what we have to do now? Let's try to run this our entire project in this main project. How can we do it? So for the better approach, we must have to understand into the scratch, which is going to be the really, really important for you, the last step, which we have to execute here. Now we are ready with our entire things. Okay. So let's just move further with that as well as so we're able to get the idea here. Right. Now I'm going to run the Python main.py, give the space. We can easily run this one as well, Python main.py. That should be fine. So we can easily say that we are getting this each and everything here. Now I'm going to type Python. You can see here, right? How can we use it? Python main.py. Then we give our question. Python main.py, right? And then we can give the question. What is a 50 multiplied to 12? Question mark. And then I would say hit the enter. Yeah. When I see this, you can see that user is here. If you observe properly, this is how it works. And we are getting this UI because of the rich UI. Now, number one is going to be work as a step by step. User is asked the question, what is 50 multiplied to 12? Gemini latency is giving you 1.32 seconds. It's like a that much latency here, right? And LLM raw output. This is going to be the LLM raw output. Can you see this? User is asking, it is going to be the thought from LLM, right? User is going to be asked from this one and this one, right? I should use a calculator tool. Model will decide which type of tool do you need to use. An action calculator, action output input is going to be this one. It is your input. After that, User is asking the mathematical questions. I should use a calculator tool. Then it's going to be automatically called. It's going to be automatically called the calculator tools, this one, without writing anything. I just want to write the simple text, simple prompt. Now, Gemini, let us see again one more time. Calculator return the 600, which is going to be the final answer, 600, and done. This is how we can use a simple scenario, simple. This is how we can build agentic. This is how we can use agentic AI into the simplest version. Day number one is going to be all about how can we use the agentic AI without any framework. Today we don't today we are not we didn't use any more LLM framework, right? We didn't use any LLM framework. Again, let's try to give the one more idea. Let's try to use the weather tool as well as right Python, right? Main.py. I'm simply typing what is weather in Delhi. What is the weather in Delhi? Just for example, right? And I would just simply write it down the question here for a better approach and then run this. So now model will decide which tool would we have to use when it's come to this weather part, right? It may take a time because it's totally depending on how it's actually working, right? Yes, as simple as that. So this is how we use, this is how we build this entire project, entire work into the simple structure of the web. It may take a time because it's depending on your AI model. If you use a pro version, if you use a paid API, you might get the very good answer immediately. I'm using the free paid version, so I'm using the free. Can you see this one? It may take time. Yeah, as simple as that. So if you observe properly, as of now, it's going to give you the weather for a better approach. So if I click on this one, right, and if I just search for the Delhi, if you search for the Delhi as well, you are able to get this result around this one. So even if I search on the Google Web, right, Delhi weather, I'm getting 29. So if you observe properly here, weather in Delhi 28.1 humidity. So that might be the some difference is depending on this one, but we can easily get it. You can easily see this one. Input row input is there, right? The user is asking for the weather in the Delhi. I can use get weather tool to find this information. I'm getting this weather, humidity, 61%, wind, 5.2 kilometer per hour. Step number two, I'm ready with the final answer. Then we are done with the final answer. This is the simplest way. This is the simplest and then easiest way to run the LLM to build the agentic part without any kind of framework. So the people who are not aware of the frameworks such as the LangChain and then LangGraph and then a lot of Crew AI as well as right. So they can easily learn, they can easily understand the each and every part, each and everything by the coding in the simplest version. Now, the next thing will be happen here. I'm going to write a one simple question, right? I'm going to call two tools at a one single time. What is 23 multiply 47 and what weather in Mumbai? So I'm going to type the two questions at a single time. Let me give it a try, right? Yes. Okay, as simple as that. I also need to put down here, right? And then I'm going to type here. I would say Python main.py. Then I'm going to run this one. So now I had asked two questions. Number one, calculator. Second, I had asked the question for the weather. Let's see if the model can able to decide which tool we have to use for which question. So user will ask the one question, right? Step number one. You can see, right? It's going to be used the it's going to be used this calculator tool here. This one. I'm getting the answer. I'm getting the correct answer. Second one, I'm going to use this. You can see here 29.2. Even if I search on the web, right, at the Mumbai weather, Even if I search for the Mumbai weather today, I'm getting 31 as well as right. So if you observe properly, 29 is there. This is how we use. This is how we use. This is how we can switch from. So the other part, if you want to switch from, as of now, we had used the Gemini in my entire session for the output part, right? If you want to switch from Gemini to group, we can easily switch into the .env file. I don't want to show that because I already have my API key here. That is the reason. But this is how we use, this is how we build the agentic AI without having any kind of framework. So even if I search for my document here, right? I had already mentioned the day number one, the session number one, build the agent from scratch, no framework. So now we are pretty much ready with each and everything, and we are done with our entire session. Okay, that's fine. Do the recap and just this is all from my side as for the today. We will keep move further. We will keep going for the advanced level in the day by day. In the day number two, we are also going to build a lot of things here, right? As simple as that. Now, after that, in the upcoming session, we are going to build the advanced type of agentic part. And I don't want to tell you here because it's going to be a surprise for all the people as well as right. So let's just end our today's session as well as right. And then let's just move further in the upcoming learning. And till now, till there, see you soon. Bye bye. Take care. We will meet in the video number two, session number two.